Hello everybody. Um, Wanted to do this video a little earlier. I had to insert the buses in question. However, it doesn't change the fact of a few things. Now, of course, just like any other person or video or whatever, some people will choose not to believe what is being said here, and that is completely okay. I personally don't mind. I don't care. My job that I've put for myself is put what I know out there with the evidence I know out there, and then after that, the rest is up to you whether you believe it or not. Now, I'd like to start first by saying this is nothing against Arvis. No, I don't have anything against Arvis. Nobody at RUBI or NTA have anything against Arvis. However, there are things being done in the transit community that point towards Arvis, right? So, we would like to talk about the first RUBI leak, and I kid you not, when we saw it, we got so happy because we were just like, finally. But then we kind of looked at it, and we were like, wait a second, something's not right. So, to start off, no, there's no viruses. The RUBI leak is completely clean, and you can use it if you want to. I am giving you permission to use a leaked sort of RUBI model if that is what makes you guys happy, and you could use it in your games, you guys can go ahead and use it. Now, um, in Roblox Studio right now, there's 4 buses, as you can see here on the Explorer. The 2 that I'm looking at are official RUBI built completely buses, okay? The first is JTA, or now known as EPTA, before known as Jacobi Transit Authority. This was their bus. To the left, you can see the NTA, or National Transportation Authority, XN40 model. The 2 models look the same except for the fact that they're renumbered, 2 different schemes, and have 2 different top parts. The right one is an XD40, so it is a diesel bus. The left one is a CNG bus, or natural gas, which is why the tanks are bigger on the left one than it is on the right one. However, I would just like to point out, before any of this starts, is the mirror appears in loading, first off, but the interiors remain the same on both buses, as you can see. They're both the exact interior with the exact colors. So, now that we've looked at that, I would like to go through the numbering, first off, before we can move on to the other models. NTA's XN40 order was 3040 through 3049, which is in total 10 buses, which was meant for the Queensington Bus Division under NTA Bus. JTA's order was 1400 to 1450, which all went to the New Rochelle Division but weren't all put in at the same time. However, the buses that were leaked, not only was it uploaded once but updated twice, they were also renumbered and tampered with to make the model look different and more like an NTA model. So, here are the buses that were leaked. It was only one, but it was updated twice. I managed to get the first one that got leaked, and then the last version that there is now, I couldn't get the middle version because there was just one thing that was different about each model. So let's go and take a look at the start model that first got leaked. This is it right here. If we take a look at the numbers, it's 708. This is not an official NTA bus. There's a few things that you can see that prove it. For example, some of the colors are off. If you don't believe me, here's an NTA bus. As you can see, it's navy blue with 0.5 reflectance. Meanwhile, on this bus, it's earth blue with no reflectance. Now, if we also take a look at both buses, we can see that from the front, it does so happen to look like an NTA bus due to the decals and other things on it. However, not only is this wrong and actually does have reflectance, which is very off, mind you, because Our buses don't have that. I don't even think the JTA bus had that. No, look at that right there. This one did have 0.5 reflectance. So this kind of just starts proving my point exactly. As you can see that the unions are practically familiar, same reflectance, same material. Now, anyways, uh, if we take a look at the RUBI NTA bus, there's a few things that I would like to show you before I move on to the leaked RUBI NTA bus. The doors have decals on them, as you can see, which is just like real life. The front and the rear, mind you. The decals on this XN40 state NTA bus, and so do all the others. There's a depot sticker on the front right and the back left. And also in the back, there is an NTA logo here with a few other little decals, which we will go take a look at and try to compare in a second. Now, I'm going to move this bus over to the right here, just so that we can try and compare a little bit. Now, I'm going to move this bus so that it can kind of be more aligned and easier to see. Right off the bat, you can see that no, the colors do not match. This was one of the first giveaways. For example, this part right here, these four little circles here, which are also for the exhaust, right, in real life, they're black when on the NTA bus, it's a different color. Second, there is no NTA logo on the front or rear left. Excuse me. Okay. Now, other than that, the back looks the same, right? So, could potentially have been an NTA bus. Now, at first, we thought that whoever the leaker was managed to get their hands on an NTA model and was just tampering with it a little bit. But after they updated the model, if you take a look, right, under NTA bus, this one is under NTA Nassau City bus. Okay, the spacing isn't really the same, as you can see. Now, that's a small thing. Anybody could just have moved it on accident. But this was in the last update of the model. The first one didn't have it, as you can see here. Now, also, the CNG tanks are wrong. It's missing the decal here. This is a decal, which if I delete, would make it look the same. But no, there's a decal there, which isn't here. Again, could have been tampered with. But then finally, this here is white, yet this one is blue. You can still see from up here how there's two separate colors that are being used. And not only that, but even this part isn't the correct color, which sort of explains a few things from what we've seen before. Now, before I continue, I'd just like to say that we know roughly who the leaker is. And, of course, the title of the video might say who it is, or might not. We're still deciding on the title here. But, whether you believe us or not wouldn't change a thing. We know who it was. Now, let's continue. The first model of the NTA bus leak only had one NTA logo, which was on the front of the bus, as you saw. The second one had one here and the one in the back here, with no other decals anywhere else, which sort of proves that the model was trying to be tampered with to make it look and seem like an NTA model. Also, it did not come with the I Heart New York stickers. It only came with them on the second model, as you can see here, which the JTA one came with its stock, which surprises me as to why he didn't keep it. So, next thing is, this really was what confirmed that this was not an NTA bus, was the decals, which we spoke of with the doors not having them. Now, when we took a look at this model, the doors appear to be the same. I mean, the unions are practically the same as ours. So, you know, when we go back to the EPTA model, we take a look and it makes sense. However, that is not the decal we're talking about mainly. If we take a look at my decal here, this is what I made. Yeah, the quality is a little wonky because, you know, Roblox lowers the texture quality. But if we look at this one, you can see how much more disintegrated the decal looks. Now, this could have happened to anybody because if we look at this one, it looks a little iffy, right? And this one does too. However, on the official NTA Ruby bus, if we take a look at the decal, it ends in 066. Meanwhile, this one ends in 0513. So there's two separate decals, and for the right, mind you, 093, and on this one, 160. Now, I'm going to go into Roblox, and you guys can see the two accounts here. This is Arvis, which by now you guys should know this is the person who leaked the Ruby model, and we can prove it. Now, if I go to create, I'm just going to try to find a random decal that I can just click on so that we can see who was it who uploaded those duplicate decals. And I'd also like to show something else, another quote-unquote accusation according to some people. So interior 3, this was for a Chevy Expressman that I was importing, with permission of course. If we copy the right decal for this one, okay, I'm just going to copy the ID, paste it here. It's called A. A. I'm the A train, was the one who uploaded it, which is me, as we can see here. Same thing with the other decal here, if we take a look. This was uploaded. Oh, did it work? Okay, no, it didn't. I didn't get to copy it. Okay, 66. Okay. I'm going to paste it here. You can see this was also uploaded by I'm the A train. Now, that's me, right? If we take a look at this model, okay, let's copy the ID on it. It comes back to Arvis. This still might not be enough for you, and honestly, towards the end of this, I don't expect much people, especially people who hang around with him, to believe me at this stage specifically. But if you took a look at one thing specifically, is the decals are the same, right? So we at RUBI and at NTA, we came with the with the kind of like theory that this is what theoretically happened with our decal. Right click, save image as, and then gets re-uploaded, which would make sense. So it was either that or he used a Roblox asset downloader. Not many people know how to use those things correctly. Still, the decal comes back to Arvis, and if I am correct, both of them should. Take a look. Oh, I keep copying the decal instead of the ID. This one should be Cuomo L. Cuomo L, as you can see. Now the dates were April 24th, 2020, which means our decal was practically stolen way before we even took notice of it. However, there is a game out there called the Omer Park Free Drive, which the buses were in theory created by Arvis. There is a Cuomo bus in there. However, the decal is different. I would go in game and show you, but that's just a bunch of time that's being wasted. You guys can go see it for yourself. The decal has a background on it which makes the colors look different, which most likely means the decal was taken off of one of the old NTA buses. However, this one is exactly that, just the same, as we can see here. The exact same decal with the exact same swooshes is what I call them. So, we have a few things here. We have some proof that he has leaked the model. We also have proof of theft of decals. I mean, he could have easily just used mine, but instead decided to download them and re-upload them himself. You see? Now, this is one of the last things I'll be showing about how this model is not an official NTA leaked Ruby bus, but an official EPTA Ruby bus, or JTA in this case. Now, NTA has quite a few destination signs, as you know. Actually, give me 1 second here. Sorry about that. My mom needed help with something. She had her teeth removed and she needed ice. She didn't want to get up. Anyways. Jesus. Anyways. this is going to be one of the final points that we try to prove to you, and then I'm going to go towards the picture evidence out there. I was going to crop out the pictures I took here in Paint.net so that it could be easier, but I mean, you can just see the account and whatnot. His inventory is locked so that nobody can see, and then blah, 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 right? We don't really need this anymore. However, if we take a look at the NTA destinations, and specifically the front, you'll see all of these destinations, right? There's quite a few. I want to say maybe over 75 destinations on here. That's not including code B or Des B in this case. So let's start moving towards the right direction here. Now, our XN40 was the first NTA bus with the new destinations on them, not the old ones. Which you'll see what I mean by that here in a second. The bus was never incomplete with destinations. When it first got released, it had destinations on them. All of them, to be exact. Not just some of them. So then, we kind of saw a little bit what could have been the problem, quote unquote. If we go to the front of this bus, which is the official bus, by the way, and we have, let's enable 1, for example. And you'll see, this is where it gets strange. Visible. Got the 1 subway shuttle. This is the new destination on it. Got not in service. Look at the codes, by the way. 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003. And then we could also have like other signs like this one. We got this one, which, there you go. Now, if we look at this one over here, the Arvis leak is what I'm going to call it now because we already know. Oh, also, mind you, this is also different here. This text is white on this one, okay? Meanwhile, on mine, it is still blue. So you can see how it changed from the first one to the second one. It was changed to white, while the official one is blue. It's on that. It's like that on every bus. Okay, there was no RUBI bus that came with this white. It was kept that color for a reason. Now, let's take a look at 9090. First off, I'd like to say, this bus is named 708. This one is named 9090. There was no bus ever released as 9090 or 700. No bus. NTA had it at 350 or 340 to 49. EPTA at which is an XD40, mind you, or JTA only got an XD40, mind you, was at 1400 as we saw here. These models have not been renamed or tampered with, okay? This is straight up just how it came. So, let's take a look at 9090 and maybe even this one. Let's start with the first one here. Let's take a look at the destinations. It looks the same, right? You got the stop names, the NTA destination new, which if you saw here, we also have it. Now let's take a look at what's inside the scripts, both of them. In the NTA destination new, the routes go all the way down to the N110, apparently, on this bus, which is 3040, okay? So we take a look at this one over here. Okay, I think it's the same on this one, right? Okay. So pretty normal, right? The N110 to Belmont Park. So you would assume that maybe, just maybe, the buses are the same because of that, right? The scripts look the same. The old scripts practically look the same. You know, it's probably the same bus, right? Except, no, it isn't. Here's why. If you look at the destination signs, for example, we have here, I'm going to go through this slowly. We only have quite a few, not quite a few, but just very few compared to the NTA bus. Now, the shuttle is correct, and so is the S, but there's no other subway shuttle destination, which is odd. Now, I'm just going to open something up here. We're going to open this. Okay. This is a EPTA destination signage thing. This was for EPTA and JTA because they share the same routes. We can see here 1000, 1001, 1002. They're basically the same codes as NTA ones. So theoretically speaking, If this is an NTA bus, then they should be the same, right? You got not in service, right? You got subway shuttle. You got C sign below, right? Let's move down to 1005. Special event. Okay, beautiful. So far, it's matching up. It has to be an NTA bus, right? It's NTA codes, right? 1008. Okay, 1009. Okay, yeah, look, it's an NTA bus for sure, 100%. Except when we move down to the 3000s, this should be an N1 code. Instead, it's a 1 code. Let's see if there's a 1 code here. Oh, wow, there is. Huh. Who would have known? Well, it's very strange. Okay. 3001 maybe? Well, what's in here? Is this also? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely not an NTA bus at all. I mean, we don't really have these routes, and our routes start with the letter N, not just the number. As you can see here, 44 plus, 44, or 47, I mean. There's no actual NTA codes on here other than the subway shuttle. And from what I've seen, when you exploit, it doesn't degrade anything. It gives you everything from what I've seen. So why is it exactly that? Because I'm pretty sure exploits don't just change destination signs, especially this precise with what's in here. Do you see, like for example, this is the 51. Look at it right here. Okay, there's just no exploit in the world who would just so happen to precisely change it word by word, destination by destination to an EPTA model, which you all saw what was the difference. So this was the conclusion we came with. We showed you all the evidence almost, and we showed you who the decals come back to. We showed you that the bus is not an NTA bus, and it's both of these buses, both versions, that do not have the correct destination signs on them. So, makes me think for a second, okay, well, what happened, right? Like, we need to have something that says, well, it's could have been Arbus, because still now people might not believe, which they never do. So here is the EPTA bus in service, as you can see. This is on the Route 42 to New Rochelle Terminal. Now, we also have another picture here which shows it on Route 47, I believe. Yep. Okay. Now, this is a picture of Arvis on the Jacoby Transportation Authority or Transit Authority development team, meaning he had access to these models. Here's him creating an asset, 1200, which is a Novella FS, as you can see, created by Arvis. And here is the JTA official group configure page. You can see that he's on the development team and created an asset. Okay. This was the final piece of evidence that we needed to determine that the leaker was Arvis. That, and also the fact that, first off, the account name was Nameless Farms, which, if you know Arvis, that's just a common joke he says, which we can see here, West Farms. Okay, so if you guys want to use this, you guys can, by the way. I don't really care. Let's take a look at the model when it was created. The model was created at 7:29, right? So this was literally, I believe, the same day I uploaded that video in RUBI, if I remember correctly. It should have been in announcements. So 7/29, 2020. It was uploaded the same day, just a few hours later, and then updated the next day at 5:36 a.m. So you can see, I'm not lying, this is the first one that came out, this is the second one. You can see it was updated, things were added, things were removed, things weren't added yet, bus is still being tampered with as we speak. The last update was on the 30th. When the update went out, me and some of RUBI went into the group chat and said that Arvis was a leaker. That was, I want to say, 6 minutes before the update came in. Now, this could be just a massive coincidence if that's what you believe. Now, I presented the evidence in front of you. Whether you believe it or not, that's completely on you. However, if you have some sort of belief, like if you believe me and have some sort of belief that I'm telling the truth, be safe and protect yourself. This model is clean. There's no viruses. There's no admin scripts that are, hidden around. You could use it. I honestly do not mind. Just be careful with the people that you choose to hang around with. One second they could be your friends, and next second they can be the people leaking you. As you can see here, he leaked his old friend, uh, I think his name is Justin, his buses, and tried to push it out to be an NTA bus, when in reality, it wasn't. So this was, of course, a misstep on our end. We should have done more research on him so that he couldn't get his hands on the model. But RUBI was going to be freed anyways. Right now, it's in its testing phase. It's testing different systems, next stop systems that are more efficient and look more towards performance instead of looking at things like wave where it's a value and then you'd have to account for every stop by a different number. So, RUBI was going to be released anyways. Okay, and the way he got the tanks, by the way, I'd rather show the way he got the tanks in the back, which are the same. Okay, I'm not going to hold you. They are the same. Was exploits, the same exploits that a lot of people condone me in my video for using. Which I didn't even use, mind you. It was just open. So it shows, kind of, because you see it and you're like, well, you come and insult me, but yet look at this. We gave you the evidence. It comes back to him on multiple different occasions. Now, for those who have Arvis in your group, I will advise and warn you, he does save models, okay? You could go through his inventory, which is closed, but if you click on his profile and go to creations, you can see some of the models that he has saved. He has saved quite a few, actually. Now, until he opens his inventory for trading, in his words, you won't be able to see the exact models that he has saved. And I doubt that after this video he even would open his inventory. Or will most likely change something to parts or delete the model afterwards. However, it doesn't change the fact that, this is indeed Arvis who leaked this bus. And I'm not really upset or angry because at the end of the day, it's just a Roblox bus. But the thing that upsets me and other people in the in the community is liars or people who try to, who are hypocrites, you could say. And that's one thing that we just decide not to really support. So that's why we made this video. It's not because we're coming after Arvis. I could care less what the 20-year-old does. Okay, so that goes out the window. I don't honestly care what the man does. It's about keeping the transit community safe, the Roblox transit community safe when it comes to what they use and how it got to where they could get access to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a quite long video. I showed you everything that I had to. I think it's like 30 minutes long. Yeah, exactly 30 minutes long. So less than a gigabyte. It's not too much. But seriously though, you guys gonna have to step up to the plate and just realize that, hey, this in reality, this is something that we should sort of be looking more at. Because this doesn't just appear out of nowhere, The fact that the model was uploaded on the same day that I made the video about be careful about Arvis just shows a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's either a humongous coincidence or just someone trying to get payback for exposing them. So that's all I really have to say about that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you guys could kind of try to understand my point of view instead of just shooting it down because he's your friend, which is what a lot of people do. Because genuinely, I'm not making these videos here, wasting 30 minutes of my time just to falsify stuff about certain people. Which, mind you, in the other video, when I uploaded, the only thing they kept mentioning was Synapse. When the video had nothing to do or revolved around Synapse. They completely ignored and railroaded the purpose of the video, which was to inform people about what was in that model and what it was being used for. Okay, now some people might say, of course, I just want to get this out my chest, of course, before the video ends. Some people might say that, hey, he made that so that, people's games, he's trying to keep the community safe. He just didn't want people's games to have exploiters and stuff. Okay, sure. But then again, he had admin privileges on not one but two different accounts. Why would he give himself creator privileges? Full admin access to your game if he was just looking out for it. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anyways, stay safe, stay black, and yo, see you later, bro. Keep waiting for that RUBI bus, though. I'm gonna make a video on how to use it and play around with it, so yeah. See you later, kids.